I've heard the UK government is going to force firms to reveal the bonuses they pay to men and to women. Apparently in the UK, women earn around 80% of what men earn. After decades of equal pay acts, Britain still has the sixth highest pay gap, as they call it, between men and women in the EU. Earlier this year, Business hit a target for the percentage of women on company boards. That was set at 25% by government advisor Lord Davis. Being no doubt he'll want that to go to 50%. Our Prime Minister, Mr Cameron, has said, "You can't have true opportunity without equality. There is no place for a pay gap in today's society, and we are delivering on our promises to address it." I saw a video recently in which one Mike Buchanan was pointing to research indicating that having loads of women on company boards impacted negatively on their profitability. But I think my disquiet is more with the principle that gender pay equality is either achievable or desirable. You see, in the beginning, God created the man, gave him some work, and then created the woman to be a helper for him. The pattern of a man as the head of the household, providing outside the home, and women carrying within it, is still one which chimes with people and to which they aspire. Even in what we regard as the most primitive societies, women stay near the camp, keeping their home smart, gathering stuff, looking after the children, while the men go out and hunt, and then the women cook what they bring back. Sadly, we have too many single-parent families today, and most of those are headed by a mother. And in two-parent households, governments have organised things so that today most families need two incomes to survive. I also want to suggest that this gender pay gap might actually be a myth. After all, it's illegal to pay a man more than a woman for doing an equivalent job. So how did the government come up with their 80% figure? Well, they just take an average of what every man earns and compare it with the average of what every woman earns. But men do more dirty and dangerous jobs that pay more and kill many of them. Most women, probably too many for the government's liking, actually want to bring up their own children at home. Taking time out of a career inevitably impacts on earning ability. And when you read about the real differences between men and women, you find that men are more driven and focused on achievements, while women are more concerned with relationships. Lastly, if more men than women prioritise work, as the figures seem to show, won't that, coupled with natural testosterone-fuelled ambition, impact on relative earnings? Well, I suppose one crumb of comfort is that women inequalities is actually so unimportant to the government that their Minister for it, Nicky Morgan, moonlights at it when she isn't doing her proper job of Education Secretary. But Mrs Morgan said, "We are determined to tackle the barriers to women achieving their all." Women must have it all on Planet Morgan. She went on, "It should appall us all that 100 years on from the suffragette movement, we still don't have gender equality in every aspect of our society." Every aspect? Oh please, Nicola, why don't you appeal to the Almighty to address the inequality in childbearing ability between the sexes? And as we share an interest in recreational running, you could ask him why the women's 5,000 metres record is a full minute and a half, that's 12.5% slower than the men's. Look, the government's arguments are based on the notion that there's a race of men over there and a separate race of women over here, and that they're in competition for a political and economic cake of a certain fixed size. In real life, men and women are not separate species in competition. They're in partnership together, earning as much as they can jointly and trying to bring up their children together despite single-parent families. That's the reality of life. And it saddens me to see my tax money and yours funding a government bashing its head against a brick wall of our God-created human nature.